Hey there guys, me too. We're back with another video, and today I just seen Captain America: Brave New World, and I wanted to give my review. And just so you know, this will be a complete spoiler review. So anybody who hasn't seen the movie yet, or if you just don't care about spoilers, then just stick around if you don't care about spoilers or if you've seen the movie. But if you don't wanna if you wanna watch the movie first, then just go. But yeah, that's my final one. And yeah, anyways, I thought this movie was really good, in my opinion. A lot of people don't like it. I don't really agree with that. I understand why you don't like. I understand why they don't like it, but still, I do have a couple complaints. But still, ultimately, I think it was a really good movie, and I think it was a cool introduction, first movie for Sam Wilson's Captain America. So yeah. And but yeah, I don't talk about complaints, and parts of this movie didn't work, but yeah. But so anyways, first talk, first starting with some negatives. First, some negatives are like, firstly, I don't really think that Red Hulk and the leader should have been the main villains of a Captain America movie. It just feels a little wrong, especially if the rumors are true that the reverse of the complete rights of Hulk reverted back to Marvel in 2023. In which case, it's like, why not just make a Hulk movie with the leader and Red Hulk? You resolve those two plot threads. But yeah, I think that the leader was really good, and it actually made sense of why they were there. But ultimately, still, it would have been better to see them in a Hulk movie. The leader I have a problem with because he was set up. But one I have a problem with mainly is Red Hulk, because that's like if Reverse Flash was the villain of a Superman movie. It's just weird. He's Reverse Flash, right? And why would he be the villain of a Superman movie, right? So yeah, same thing with Red Hulk. He's Red Hulk. Why would he be the villain of a Captain America movie? I don't think that they made it work, but it's still just a weird decision overall. But yeah, other than that, I think the leader's character design, I wasn't a big fan of it. I think it's an interesting take, and it was pretty cool to see body horror, and but yeah, also I think the effects looked really good with his face. It was all practical, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, but ultimately I don't really like the character design because first off, he doesn't have the big head. Okay, he should have got the big head, and he also doesn't have hair. Instead, parts of his brain are popping out of his head, and there's moldy. It looks like it was rotting. It looks like there's parts of his brain popping out of his head, and it was rotting. Also, I think he could have been a lot brighter green, because sometimes I think he was the appropriate amount of green and a good amount of green, and other times I think he was really the green wasn't vibrant enough on his skin. And it kind of sucks because they cut all the cool characters on. Also, I think he should have just had a goatee. There was no reason not to give him the goatee. The goatee just would have looked so much cooler. But yeah, and it would make it more comic accurate. The original character design didn't only include the goatee; it included him being more vibrant green and a big head. There's a Funko Pop that if I see it, I'm probably gonna get it. Of even if it is movie accurate, it's comic accurate, and that's the design I like more, where the head is big and it's green. It's more vibrant green. There's no it's just black hair like from the comics, and he has a goatee, and it's not like there are parts of his brain bulging out of his head and rotting. But yeah, but it was still a little bit cool, to be honest. But yeah, and another negative I had was there was no Marvel Studios intro. They cut that for no reason. It was just said Marvel Studios presents in black and white text, which I thought was really weird. Just like it kind of sucks that I cut it because I always like even if it doesn't play the music, it's always should still be there. Like I mean, like it doesn't have to play the music, and even if it has a fun variation, like in Deadpool and Wolverine with Deadpool hummed it at the end. Like they didn't have to make it a fun variation; they could have just did it. But ultimately, I think it should just exist. Like they should just put it in every Marvel movie. So yeah, it kind of sucks that they don't anymore. But yeah, anyways, my last and probably biggest complaint with the movie is the post-credit scene, man. The post-credit scene did not do it at all. Like there are complaints about how the post-credit scene works, and then there are other complaints about how much it just doesn't get me excited, to be honest. Like the post-credit scene, I'm gonna give a pitch about what I thought after I'm done complaining about the post-credit scene. I'm gonna give a pitch about what I think the post-credit scene should have been. I would have been willing to bet money before this movie came out that the post credit scene would be this, because it seems like such a no-brainer. Another complaint that I had before I talk about the post credit scene is they kind of like Animantium wasn't as big of a part of the movie as I thought it would be. And I'm still really excited that Animantium is finally in the MCU, and I like how it's now the strongest metal, because that's what it was in the comics. The strongest metal, stronger than vibranium. And then but yeah, I think it was kind of a missed opportunity. It was still a big plot point of this movie, but it wasn't like the main plot like I thought it would be. But yeah, but it was still ultimately a cool resource, and it's just really good that it exists now in the MCU. And it was also resolving coolly the ending of Eternals. So yeah, but yeah, the post credit scene, it really was it was not good. So I'm gonna describe the post credit scene. So basically what happens is Sam Wilson walks into the raft. He says something to the leader for some reason. I forget why he was talking to him, but he's like, yeah, it's funny. It's like, oh, we don't have the same sense of humor. Like it was some of the writing was also really corny in the post credit scene. Like I don't know why. First off, like I don't even really remember why Sam was visiting the leader. There isn't really a reason to do that. But like also like just so like the way like it was like, you kill innocent men. I don't think me and you have the same sense of humor. It seemed like really just like a little weird, and it seemed a little out of character. But like the thing was that leader was like, because leader throughout the entire movie is like talking about the outcome of stuff, and it's because he's smart and stuff. And he's like, I did all the outcomes with this one specific thing. I did all the outcomes, and it seems like there are other universes. And I know that you are willing to live your life for this universe. Sorry about that. I had to pause it for a second. But yeah, back to my point. Later's like, I've seen all the outcomes, and it seems like there are other universes. I know you're willing to give your life for this universe. How hard will you fight to stop it, or to stop from the other universes destroying this one? And it's like, what? That's such a lazy tease. Like, first off, why does the leader know about the multiverse? I know he's super smart. Oh, he has a big brain, but like, it's like he's a science guy. He's focused on science, tech, and stuff like that. I don't know why he cares about the multiverse this much. And also, why would he know that there's a threat coming? Okay, say if he did know about the multiverse has been a theory in like science for years. Okay, so let's say he did know about the multiverse. Why would he know there was a threat coming? Like, specifically at this time. The multiverse has existed since the dawn of time. Why now does the leader think that there's going to be a threat coming? It's just a shitty tease, and it kind of pissed me off, to be honest. And like, also, like, not even mention the fact that this could have been a cool post-credit scene. Like, it would still be unlogical. Sorry, I had to pause the video again for a second, but I mean, a couple years ago, this would still be unlogical, but it would be a better post-credit scene, because a couple years ago, like, it would have been a cooler tease, if it was like it was before. I'm not saying this movie should have came up before, No Way Home or Multiverse of Madness or stuff like that, but I'm saying that if if this post-credit scene specifically came up, if this movie specifically came up before, I don't know how many changes they would have to make, but if this movie specifically came up before, this would have been a better post-credit scene. But no, it was just a lazy tease. And like it just like didn't really work. Like because like this whole movie they've been grounded. Like this whole movie they've been more grounded in realism, like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It felt completely weird to have Sam Wilson be like, to have now just teases the multiverse. They should have had a lower scale tease at the end. And you know, they've done this before. For example, with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The post credit scene, one of them teases Loki season 2, which I haven't seen because I didn't like the first season of Loki, and yeah. But the other one teases Kang, and it teases a Kang, and like all the Kangs come together, like the Egyptian one, and like it's even a reference to the comic book cover, and like all the Kangs are from all these different universes just coming into one universe. That was actually a cool tease, because first off, at that time it did seem like we were having Kang Dynasty before all the Jonathan Majors controversy happened, but yeah. But the reason it was a cool tease is because it wasn't some out of nowhere tease towards the next Avengers movie. It made sense. The director described, which I thought was kind of cool. I just still don't like the movie in general, but I thought it was kind of cool tease. It was like the director described, I imagine this Ant-Man movie if it was like an Avengers movie, but it was just Ant-Man, which is a cool like idea, but like still ultimately the execution was not good. But yeah, it made sense because Kang was the main villain of the movie, so it made sense that he was the next villain of the. Seemingly, he was gonna be the next villain of the Avengers movie. So yeah, it made sense. But this one doesn't. I mean, the movie has no really connections to the multiverse at all. It's a much lower scale movie, than something like Quantumania. But yeah. It just has this weird tease. And also, they could have made it so much better. Okay, for example, if at the end of this post-credit scene, instead of just us cutting to Sam, like having like a normal face expression and just cutting to black and saying Captain America will return, if we cut to Sam, he calls somebody. It doesn't even matter who he is. It could literally be nobody. You don't have to show who he calls, but he calls somebody. You can see he's calling somebody. He calls somebody, and then they pick up and they're like, "Hello," and then he says, "We need to reunite the Avengers," or something like that. Because I honestly thought the tease at the very end of the movie, where he's talking to the new Falcon, and he's like, "I think it's time that we reunite the Avengers." I think that was a better tease. That was literally a better tease. That was a better post-credit scene than I don't think it should have been the post-credit scene, because that would have made sense. But still, it's a better tease. Towards even Avengers Doomsday. But yeah, if he had to call them like reunite the Avengers, because he thinks that now there's a multiversal threat, that would have been better. It would have been a better post-credit scene. Also, I'm just saying that how disappointed I was, because when it first started, I thought like, is it even? Because he said like there's others out there, and it was like others out there, like, and it's like he was talking about protecting the universe. He said others out there, and it's like this guy about to tease mutants. Like adamantium was introduced. This guy that like mutants exist, which we already know from like Miss Marvel, but still, like that would have been cool if he said like, or like even like the X-Men exist. That would have been cool, but no, man, it was just some shitty tease towards Avengers Doomsday. Okay, and here's what I think they should have done with the post-credit scene. And I know it seems like I'm kind of shitting on this movie. I actually really liked it. Okay, it was a really good movie. These are just my criticisms. Here's what they should have done with the post-credit scene, right? So, in the movie, you show all these countries getting adamantium. You show America, and you show them getting a good bit of adamantium. They transport it. It's in a liquid form because that's what they set up in X2, that it has to be liquid and like really hot. So it's in a liquid form. You're transporting it. And so they transport it to a facility. Now we could show them what the facility is. It's a Weapons Plus facility. It's the same facility that makes a bunch of characters in the comics. One of the first Weapon Plus facility, you probably know what it is, but I'm not gonna say it. It made Steve Rogers originally, so what a failure. So they transport it to the facility and they hook it up to the thing right next to a tank of water. They hook up all this adamantium. They make them into like needles, and yeah, and then they zoom up on the thing because you don't see the top of right above like the case of water. and you zoom up on it, and it's X-rays. Most of the X-rays seem normal, but there are a couple X-rays in the hand that show 3 claws. That would have been a cool tease towards Wolverine and fit with the slower scale stakes of the movie. And like, I know I'm saying lower scale, like it's not that lower scale. I mean, the secondary finale is Captain America and the new Falcon fighting off Japan and fighting off their own things because they've been mind controlled around a dead Celestial to stop World War III. And the climax of the movie is Red Hulk tearing through DC, and Captain America has to stop him, and destroying the White House. But like, ultimately, it's still like, it's still lower scale than like Quantumania. So yeah, that's what I think they should have done with the post-credit scene. And moving on to the good, because I've been kind of shit on this movie and I want to share the good. I really enjoyed the movie. Okay, I think it was not only a really fun time, but it was also really good. And like all the performances I thought were really good. Like Harrison Ford nowadays usually he usually phones it in for things. Why would he really care? He usually just gets the paycheck, doesn't really care. Like for the Star Wars movies, for example, he gets the paycheck, he spoils the movie because he doesn't care. He publicly shits on the movie, and he just doesn't care. He puts in a half-ass performance because he's in his 80s, right? Why would he put all of this? But no. You could tell that he actually tried to do something for this movie, and he didn't publicly shit on it. He didn't publicly spoil the movie. It seemed like he was actually having fun on the press tour, which is good. And you could tell he's actually doing really good in this. And yeah, I thought that his relationship, even with Betty, was really good. And I also thought, like, they say a lot of things about how this is essential viewing. Like, first off, like, I heard people complaining about how Falcon and the Winter Soldier is essential viewing. That kind of has to be essential viewing, because if you didn't see that, then you wouldn't know that Sam Wilson is Captain America. You wouldn't even know that. Really, like, they teased it in Endgame, but like, you're like, what, this new suit? And like, yeah, it happened in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But so you kind of have to see it. Like, this is basically a direct sequel to that. So it's like you shouldn't have to be filled in on everything that happened in the first Avenger to watch Winter Soldier. You should know what happened in the first Avenger, because the Winter Soldier is a direct sequel to that. But yeah, and I'm really happy. But even that, they did a good job at explaining stuff, like explaining Isaiah Bradley, and like Isaiah Bradley, like he was really emotional, like just like the way, like when after he gets mind controlled by the leader and he runs away, and like when he snaps back and he's like, Sam, and he's like, I don't want to go back to prison, and it's like so sad because this man, he's now going back to prison for a crime he didn't commit, and it's really sad. And even like the scene where he was talking to him in the prison, like it was really sad, and it was really good writing, and it was really good performances by both actors. Also, I really like how they proved that this Captain America he could fight without the suit, because I heard people saying that it's kind of like an Iron Man suit. I don't really call it. It's not really an Iron Man suit, but still, it's a very teched out suit. He has a shield which is made out of vibranium. His wings are made out of vibranium. He could fly. He could shoot the spikes from he could shoot like the feathers out of the wings, like, and they're sharp and stuff. He could stab people with the wings. He could, like, he literally, like, he has a nanotech faceplate which would make him fly at super speeds. Like, it's a pretty teched out suit, and I liked how they showed that he didn't need that or the super soldier serum, because I really like the fact that he doesn't need the super soldier serum. I think it's an interesting route, and I knew that Bucky was gonna be in the movie, but even when I was still kind of surprised. Like, I knew that Bucky, even like, by the way, Sam was like, go away, this is a private moment, you weren't showing him, like Like at that point, I was like, yeah, Bucky. Like obviously, I know it's gonna be Bucky, but it was still like the way they did it was really cool. And him saying like you don't need the super soldier serum. Like Steve had the super soldier serum, and he still couldn't save everybody. And you're doing the best you can. You're doing the best you can. And yeah. I was really like that was a really good scene, and it just proved that Sam doesn't need the super soldier serum. I forgot to bring up. I think I forgot to bring this up in the negative section. Why did they change his suit? Okay, I'm gonna I know I said that was past the negatives, but like I forgot to bring it up in the negative section. But why did they change his suit? Like, why did they change it? Like, they made us. I understand. I know why they changed it. It's to sell toys, but they made it so much worse. They made it so much worse. Like, literally, it's like Captain America, Winter Soldier all over again. Because I haven't seen Captain America Soldier in a couple years. But last time I did not like it. I did not think it was that good. I've never been a big fan. I think it's really overrated. I should watch it again. Granted, I haven't watched it in a couple years, and maybe I'll like it a lot more. But still, I thought this movie was a lot better than Winter Soldier. I'm just saying it. But yeah, I think that like the first Captain America, in the first Captain America First Avenger, that suit wasn't great. Okay, it was military. I like how they did it military, but like it was like because my main issue is that it doesn't have the middle stripe, but it has 2 stripes on the side. With the white on the stomach, is it 2 red stripes on the side because they use like a parachute. That's cool. They even fix that in Winter Soldier, where the suit that he gets from the museum actually has the middle strap, but the actual suit didn't. But there's no middle strap in the middle, which kind of sucks. It's like kind of annoying. Like there should be a middle red strap. But yeah, but it was but the Winter Soldier suit to me is a downgrade specifically from the Avenger suit. I love the Avenger suit. Like it's so comic booky and so cool. Like it's very comic booky. And, people could say, "Oh, it looks stupid." Like it doesn't look dumb because it's comic booky. Okay, it's from the comic books. It's meant to be from the comic books. It's a comic book movie. It's showing that they're proud to be a comic book movie, and I really like this suit. Yeah, the Winter Soldier suit was a humongous downgrade to me. Like, I hated how they did that. Like, they cut it, it was literally silver and blue. They cut out all the red, they cut out all the white, it was silver and blue. Like, come on, like, just silver and dark blue. They cut out the red and the white and the everything. Like, it was stupid. They made it so much worse. And I'm tired of people glazing that suit. That suit sucks. That suit sucks. It really does. I don't like the suit at all. Okay, and if it was like a one-time gimmick, like just to sell toys, like he wore it once in the movie, no, he wears that till the climax in that movie. But yeah, they basically did the same thing here. They removed the top white piece, they removed the white on the arms, most of the white on the arms, and they removed the top white piece, so it just had the 2 white stripes, and they made the white stripes shorter, and they removed the white cowl thing, which is the most understandable. They even removed the white cowl thing in the suit that he actually wore. This is the most understandable because with Marvel, the rumors are that they're overworking the VFX artists, and I don't really know too much about the situation, but it seems like they might be. So no, but here's the thing about the cowl in Falcon and Winter Soldier: it was continuously popping up. In which case, they had to fix that in VFX, and it cost a bunch of money, and it ultimately it just overworked the VFX artists. So with this, they decided to cut it, which I prefer with the cowl, but I understand why they would cut it. But still, even that, it makes it look blander. Okay, and yeah, and it makes the suit kind of, and the suit just in this movie just kind of sucks. But yeah, other than that, going back to my point, which I forget. Sorry, I lost my point, but still. Anyways, going back to my point. I think I was talking about Bucky in that scene. Oh yeah, I like how they teased the Thunderbolts with him now being like a senator or like a congressman. I don't know, but yeah, they teased the Thunderbolts because that's what he is in the Thunderbolts. So yeah, and he looks the exact same. But yeah, ultimately, I do like how they tease that. And I'm like, because I'm pretty sure, I'm like 90% sure of this. Now, Bucky is the only character to appear in every MCU Captain America movie. Because think about it, he appeared in the first one. He appeared in this. He was the Winter Soldier. He was his friend in the first one. Winter Soldier, the second one. Third one, he was a big part of. In Civil War, he's a big part of the plot, obviously. And then he had a cameo in this. Think about it. The only one who I know for sure was like that before was Steve, but he wasn't in this movie. So yeah, I didn't expect him to be, but still. But yeah. Anyways, but I think they really did a good job with all the villains in the movie, because you really sympathize with the villains. Like, once I seen Isaiah Bradley and how sad it was, like even like how he was, and like be careful with the suit, because you know what that suit means to him. He got married in the suit, and yeah, even when at the end when Ruth gives him the suit back, like that was like a good moment to show that he's free. But yeah, yeah, I really like even at that, like when he was like saying be careful with the suit, and he was like, I don't want to go back to prison. I was like, Sam Wilson, you gotta beat this leader, man. This guy's an asshole. But like then you sympathize with the leader. You find yourself sympathizing actually with the leader too. Like obviously it's not justifying his action, but you sympathize why he's angry and why he wants his revenge. But yeah. And you also find yourself really sympathizing with Ross, because in the past Ross has been a horrible person, right? In the original, and even in this, they portray him as even a worse person who's trying to atone for his sins, and he's trying to make everything better, and he's trying to make the country better and atone for his sins. But yeah, he can't. By the fact that I just want to say, like, when they had a flashback, I honestly think that they shouldn't have shown that press conference, because first off, you could have said anything about Harrison Ford. You could have said that maybe he got into like a car accident in between the last time we seen him in this, which was Infinity War, in a hologram, and he had plastic surgery, which would have wrote it off so much better. But they decided to flashback, in which case it's like, dude, because then they show Harrison Ford having like a meltdown, and like he has a mustache, and the mustache is so obviously faking. It looks really goofy on him. But yeah, it just makes me happy that they didn't have the mustache in the actual movie, because if they had it would have looked so much worse. But yeah. Anyways, I really like how they did his character arc though, where he's trying to atone for his sins, and he just wants to talk to his daughter, and I really like Betty Ross here too, and I like how they brought back Liv Tyler for the performance, which I liked. She was really only like a cameo where she was talking to the phone with him in one scene, and then she only actually physically appeared in one scene in the raft. But yeah, I did like how they brought her back, which is cool. But yeah. But yeah, I really like what they did with Red Hulk, because you did sympathize with Red Hulk. You could see he's trying to atone for his sins, and even like the way like he was being a dick to the leader. What he did to the leader was not right. He experimented on him and stuff. But you also see why he would do that, even if it's not right, even if you wouldn't do the same. You see why he would do that still. And you could see he obviously regrets that. And, he's trying to run from his past, because if he admits to his past, then he would go to jail, in which case he can't try to make the country better, and he can't try to atone for his sins. But if he tries to, and it shows it as that way, that, like, if he actually goes into custody, then he can't try to atone for his sins and make the country better, which is his goal. But, like, he's doing worse stuff, because, he's actually doing worse stuff because he can't admit to the sins that he did before, right? He can't pardon Isaiah Bradley, which means that Isaiah Bradley could be killed, because if he pardons him, then he would have to admit that he experimented on the leader, right? And he threw the leader under the bus. But, like, what else was he supposed to do? You need to live, and sure, what he did was completely wrong, and you shouldn't do that. But you also see why he did it still. You know, he may have experimented on it later, but you see why he forced the leader to help him, because without it he would have died. So you see why he would do that, even if you don't agree with it and you wouldn't do it yourself, which is what like everybody would do. Like they wouldn't do it, but you could still see why he did it, right? But yeah, and, you know, with the leader, you sympathize with him too, because you know he was kept in there for 16 years. Right? You know, this sucks for him. He was held in a prison for 16 years, forced to make these drugs to save somebody who was experimenting on him and torturing him for 16 years straight, and was forced to make and he was forced to make pills for him to save his life. Like, that wouldn't drive anybody insane, especially if now you are disformed because of this man, when you were completely perfectly happy with just being a college professor in the Incredible Hulk film. You know, you were completely happy being a college professor until this guy did. Some crazy guy makes you turn him into a monster, in which case then you get blamed for that monster, almost die, be physically disformed, and then you get thrown in the bus, you get completely blamed for the monster, you go to a Black Ops site where you're experimented and tortured for 16 years and forced to make drugs for the man who threw you under the bus and sent you to prison, and also ended up getting you disformed. And also everybody thinks that you're crazy and you destroyed, and you're the one who's responsible for the destruction of Harlem. Right? You know, like, that wouldn't make anybody angry, and that would make anybody want to get revenge. And especially if this new president is still holding you there, and he's trying to supposedly atone for his sins and trying to be a better person, when he's the one but you're still locked up, and and he's still making you make his heart medications, and you're never getting out of there, and you're physically disformed, and you're tortured and experimented on. But this man just got elected as president and is trying to supposedly atone for his sins and trying to be a better person. Like, that would make anybody angry. But the way he goes about the revenge is still really bad. You know, also, I just did want to point out that I noticed this immediately in theaters. Like, around the second time this song actually played, I heard it and I was like, did that say Mr. Blue? Because Mr. Blue was his code name in The Incredible Hulk. Because how he talked to Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner's codename was Mr. Green, and his codename was Mr. Blue. So yeah, that's why it was Mr. Blue, which is a cool Easter egg. But yeah, his head is completely disformed now, and you know he can't just go back to being a normal college professor. So yeah, now his life is ruined, and yeah, it's all gone. So that would obviously make anybody angry. But then yeah. And yeah, you sympathize. That's how you just sympathize with like everybody in this movie, and it's like they make such great. All the characters are such great. So yeah, and ultimately, I thought the action was really good. Cause here's the thing. Okay, the action. I seen a clip from the action where the action looked really choppy. Like there was a hand-to-hand scene. It's with one of the. It's at the start of the movie. Part of the opening, like the opening it's not really the opening sequence, because the opening sequence is like the whole Ross thing and all the news reports. It's part of the opening fight scene, with like the Serpent Society guy with the hand-to-hand combat. That looked really choppy from what I've seen of it, but in the actual movie it looked much more clean and polished, and it was less choppy and like cutty and like slow, and the choreography was better. And yeah, ultimately, yeah. And also, not to talk about, like, the first time Sam Wilson just like flew down, like it actually felt like you were there and you were actually flying. You know, you actually had the Falcon wings and you were flying around, and it was really cool. And like their action scenes were super cool. Like, I mean, there were so many cool action scenes. Like this, like a secondary climax, as I call it, like around Celestial Island, with Japan trying to claim the adamantium, and the leader activating, the soldiers, and with symbols and with the new Falcon and stuff. But yeah, them like fighting. That was a really cool action sequence too, and the action sequence with Red Hulk was also really cool. So all the action sequences I think were really good. Which also, I heard a lot of people complaining about the new Falcon. I really thought that he was good. Because I could kind of see in the start of the movie, I was like, yeah, I could see why people find him annoying. I don't find him annoying personally, but I could see why people find him annoying. But at the end, when he's talking about the responsibility and stuff, and it was actually a serious character moment where he's like, I want it to be you, because it was it was a really good moment, and it was a really emotional moment. And then I do think that they wasted the adamantium, which does suck. But I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, I do think that Giancarlo Esposito was kind of wasted. I don't think he was wasted. I think that he was a little bit wasted. Only a little bit though, because first off, he's a character who's obviously gonna come back. They tease that with him saying when I break out of there, then I'll kill you or something like that. He said something like that. When he said when, it's he's coming back eventually. The Super Society will probably be the main villains for the next Captain America movie. But they did really it was kind of just advertisement, and it really did blow the budget. Because originally this role was supposed to go to Seth Rollins, who's a wrestler, but he got cut from the film completely, and his character was still in the movie, but they replaced him with Giancarlo Esposito. It's kind of a waste because Giancarlo Esposito is now playing the Serpent Society character. When everybody with fan casting him as Magneto, Doctor Doom, Professor X, but ultimately I still think that he was well used. And I'm fine with him playing the Super Society character, but still, my main thing is that if he doesn't come back in a sequel, if he never comes back, then I'm gonna be disappointed. That's my main problem. If he never comes back, then I'll be disappointed. But ultimately he did play the role obviously really good. But yeah, I also really like how he's used as how at the start of the movie he was used as somebody to manipulate Tokyo. Also, I heard that people were calling the leader's plan dumb. The leader's plan was not dumb. I think the leader's plan was actually really smart, because his whole plan was to cause World War III by tricking Japan into thinking that America stole their adamantium so they could return it to them. It was a really cool plan, because Japan got the first sample of adamantium, and they were transporting it, but then the Serpent Society stole it to sell to a mysterious buyer who never showed up. The buyer was a leader, but he bought it under American stuff. So when Captain America went to save it, it seemed when eventually Japan found out that he bought it under the American government, then they're like, you stole our adamantium, we're not going to work with you anymore. And then even in the fight there, he was how he manipulated the soldiers to fight Japan. So yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, ultimately I do think that Captain America: Brave New World ultimately was still a really good movie. Was there a lot of flaws? Yeah, but ultimately still a really good movie and really enjoyable, and I would recommend seeing it if you haven't already in the spoiler review. But also, by the way, I'm filming this Saturday night. I watch it Saturday at 1:00. So yeah. But yeah, I thought that it was I would recommend go seeing it if you haven't in this spoiler review, but then you watch this entire spoiler review, but whatever. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.